bad it can't be reused tomorrow. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. All right, we have 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Maggie? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't realize she's gone. All right, do we have any additions to the agenda tonight? And I think we will be removing 7-2A, the planning and zoning for 124 Ash Avenue site plan approval. That did get tabled at the planning commission, so we'll remove it from the agenda tonight. So I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda with that one subtraction.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That'll take us to public comments. If there's anyone who would like to discuss anything that is not on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comments and move to consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that needs to be removed for further discussion? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That'll take us to the public hearing. We'll open up public hearing for delinquent utilities, Resolution 10.26.20.43.
All right, Mayor and Council, it does look like we are having technical difficulties. I can't seem to, I know we're live streaming, but the link is not connecting for some reason, so I apologize for that. Okay, so public hearing. So we do have a public hearing tonight to approve Resolution 10.26.20.43, approving certification of delinquent utilities to Carver County for collection on the 2021 property taxes. So as you know, every year the city prepares a roll of delinquent utilities and unpaid miscellaneous fees most of the time, and tonight you will see that these are just delinquent utilities. Property owners on the roll were provided a 30-day mailing notice of a public hearing. Is it working? Okay. Mailing notice of for the public hearing, and let them know that any unpaid utilities would be certified to Carver County. They are given the opportunity to pay any delinquencies until November 16th. The tax roll is currently in your packet, and the total is $4,856.78. So the resolution in your packet will approve that attachment and be certified to Carver County on November 30th. So staff recommends approval of the certification of unpaid charges to Carver County.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to come up and talk? Seeing none, and Maggie, were there any emails or phone calls, anything that you want to put on the record?
There were not.
All right. One last chance. Anyone from the public? Then we will close the public hearing. I'll look for a motion to approve Resolution 10.26.20.43, approving certification of Carver County of unpaid delinquent utility bills and miscellaneous fees.
I'll make that motion.
Excuse me, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
A lot of big ones on here. Seen this high in
Yeah, there are a
a
couple.
long time or ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, we're here to answer anything. We have been working with a few they have been notified that anything unpaid will be certified. And again, we've been trying to send out more notices this year and just getting this list down from last year, so.
Did you happen to send them at least, maybe if it was related to COVID, the assistance, the housing assistance? Because I think they can still apply. Would water bills be?
Yeah, water bills are on there. We did not specifically send out, that is a good idea. We did not specifically send out to each resident. We did put that in our newsletter and social media and other areas, though.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, Maggie, that'll take us to 7-1A Waste Management update.
Okay, so we do have Jason Hartman from Waste Management here today. So council has been requesting a, just an update from the company on the transition process and current operations. So as you know, the contract was approved and started on September 1st, 2020, and since then I have been working with Jason off and on, trying to get everything kind of where it should be. So I will invite Jason up to the podium.
Perfect.
Hello. No problem. Sorry about last time around. Wires got crossed. And for whatever reason, I hadn't been out here before, so I thought it was Thursday night. And I apologize for that. I take responsibility for that. Last week on Thursday, I did kind of do a dry run through the city on the west side of town, kind of looking for people who still were having issues with getting a 96-gallon recycled container. I did find 7 of them. Of which I really only think about one of these may still be in error. I think a lot of these other ones were people requesting smaller containers. Just seeing things like they had a 35-gallon trash container, it made sense that they also had a 35-gallon recycling. I did jot down addresses, and I do plan on being back out here this Thursday, and I'll do the west side of town. I believe that's where the majority of the problems were coming from originally, were the west side, so I should have a,
So you actually drove
Yep.
around last.
Yep.
on the east side.
stopped in and talked to Maggie afterwards, kind of showed her what I'd found, so.
Was it just some wires how did it, do we know what?
What originally happened, when we forwarded the list to our container company, they took that list and used what people originally had. So if somebody had a 64, they got a 64 instead of a 96. Our district manager said he ordered all 90s for the entire town, but that's what happened. The card company delivered what they originally had. So then what we did is after their first recycling week, we tried to follow the truck around, pick up the smaller containers, deliver a larger one. Well, we ran out, and then it just kind of snowballed from then on there afterwards. So I did give Maggie the local phone number to our Winstead site, and she also has my email. I told her if anyone needs anything, they can either call our site or email myself. So I know it gets handled. So
You're the best contact.
yes. I haven't heard anything regarding the service, so I'm assuming that's been working out well as far as everyone getting picked up timely manner. Typically, if I don't hear anything, that's usually good news. So
I just had one neighbor complain that there was some broken glass
okay,
at the end of their driveway. I had happened to drive by and saw a waste management employee like sweeping it up. And then, but I did, when I talked to the homeowner, he said that it wasn't done very well and he still had to go to the end of his driveway. And he wasn't sure how glass got broken at the end because he didn't have glass in his recycling or garbage. So it's kind of a weird thing. I don't think it needs to be, but I just,
all right. I mean, I always mention it. I know we have sent crews out if we know our truck's leaking. I mean, we do our regular maintenance, but stuff still happens. Things still
yeah.
will happen. But if there's ever an incident like that, let us know. We'll make
Yeah, I
sure
don't
get
think, we
somebody-
kind of talked and we seemed satisfied because we did see somebody out. I just was mentioning it as I
Okay.
did see someone after the fact coming and sweeping it up. I just don't know if it was done to the homeowner's
Okay.
liking at the time, but I I'll follow up with you if I find it's an issue, was an issue, but I don't think it was.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll make sure I drop off cards with Maggie for everybody too, if anyone needs anything. So-
And I know I've been hearing some concerns about the communication with the billing department, when you call the toll-free number.
Yep.
They were unaware that everyone in town was getting a 96 gallon.
Okay.
Because I know some residents had called them and said, why do I have a 96 gallon? I never ordered a 96 gallon, even though it was in our newsletter that everyone's getting one. And they had no idea. When I talked to them, they also said that there was nothing on the record that said our town requested that and about the additional charge. So I think there's something that's missing between the Glencoe office and the main office, or just, there's something that's missing there because I've been hearing some unsatisfied people when they have to talk to someone in customer service or billing.
Okay, with the recycling containers, that shouldn't matter. I mean, it's one price fits all. So I can get that changed. We have one thing we call green pages for our account reps who, when somebody calls in, they'll say they're from Mayor, they punch that in, and it can pull up the details. And I don't believe I put that in there, that everyone should have a 96 recycle.
Yeah.
It's basically with recycling, it's one size fits all. It's one price.
Because when I asked, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when I talked to her, and I had called her the day that we had gotten the switch out, because I was hearing a lot of concern from people. So I called customer service the day that we got the switch out, and she said, nope, you're showing a 64 gallon, and if you want to keep the 96 gallon, it's going to be an extra $1.50 a month. I went,
I wonder if that's for trash.
no, it was specifically recycling.
Okay. That was an error on our part then, because there's no additional charge for that.
Okay, yeah, I was just concerned because they didn't seem to be aware of what our town had,
Okay.
so,
I can get that fixed. I'll go through our Green Pages account tomorrow morning and
thank you.
I'm able to edit that. So it should read that everyone should have a 96 gallon. But it's like most cities, it's unlimited recycling capabilities here. There is no, we don't put a limit on the 96 gallon container. If you have more, we'll take more. And there's no additional charge for that.
Some of that same that Liz was kind of speaking to, more from a social media standpoint, when people would try to call into that customer, there's a really big disconnect on really
Okay.
what was happening to what they were talking to. So I saw a lot of stuff on there. So I didn't have people call me personally, but I did see a lot. Now, I haven't seen much of it in the last week and a half, 2 weeks now.
Okay.
Admittedly, but there seemed to be a lot of disconnect.
Okay.
People calling in and just confusion on what's even going on, and almost like working for different companies almost. So
Yeah, it's,
again, I haven't seen it in the last couple of weeks now, so maybe that's been resolved.
okay. I know we've had a few internal team meetings regarding a lot of this. Our ops is well aware that all the problems this has caused. And
How do you track calls? Do you track calls? How can we get it back to us, what kind of calls you're getting?
I can have them run a report. Basically, every time somebody comes in, they'll throw, like, Mayor will be in the queue number, and then I can run a report. And each report, it'll have like 10 different things. It'll be a courtesy, or it could be a bulk pickup. But yeah, I can have them run a report, and I can send that off to Maggie if you guys want to see
Maybe
that.
quarterly, like, wouldn't
I
be
don't
nice?
need it
Okay.
quarterly, so we know.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need to know that connection between what our
Yep.
residents, otherwise if we don't know, and we don't know if they're getting handled or not handled in a timely manner, those kinds of things. We just
Okay.
We need to have that connection there. Again, and I understand this 96 gallon recycling seems fairly minor, but it's a big deal. The residents have been angry.
No, absolutely, I
A
get
lot
it.
of them, and when they are, then we are. I mean, that's what we're here for. So, as we talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, so. Anything else for Jason for Waste Management at all? Yeah, like I said, I've seen in the last couple weeks less and less, so we're getting there, but
Perfect.
we need to get there.
Yeah, I'll be out, like I said, Thursday to drive through the west side of town, and kind of the same thing. I just jot down every address I see that does not have a 96. I'll make my notes if I feel suspicious that maybe they did call and request a smaller container. I know the site said they had lots of requests. Lots could be 7 to them, though, so I'm not sure, so.
And that was a new piece that Maggie did relate, at least I had heard that last week, about there were some homes that did want smaller ones that I wasn't aware of. I
Okay.
didn't know that was even an option, so some of them that I may have have seen.
Yeah, well, we
They have
always,
requested a smaller one too, admittedly, so.
yeah. I mean, you always get some of the seniors and stuff that just, they don't want to lug down the heavy can, so.
I like the bigger one.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming in, and
No problem.
we'll certainly stay in contact, and Maggie will continue work, and we'll get this wrapped up here Thursday.
Sounds good, thanks for having me.
Perfect, thanks.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, Maggie, 7-1B, issuance of conduit revenue note by the city mayor for Mayor Lutheran High.
Okay, so we do have Joel Landscorner here this evening from Mayor Lutheran High School. So today on the agenda is to discuss the request from Mayor Lutheran High School to issue a conduit revenue note. So as you know, in 2017, Mayor Lutheran High School started the construction of a 43,000 square foot addition to their school facility. That included a field house, a common area, and offices and a new entrance. So in 2020, as interest rates are at an all-time low, they're looking to refinance the loan that they have on that addition that they constructed. So like two other times in the past, Mayor Lutheran High School has requested the city of Mayor, the two other times were with two other organizations. They're asking the city to consider acting as an issuer of a 501c3 revenue note in the amount of approximately $3.2 million. So this amount will be loaned to Mayor Lutheran High School to refinance the project that I just mentioned. So our bond counsel, Taft, formerly known as Briggs and Morgan, will act as our bond counsel, as well as to Mayor Lutheran High School. The note will be purchased by a local bank, Security Bank and Trust. Just a little background, state and federal law allows us to enter into arrangements such as this to issue tax-exempt obligations and to issue a loan to nonprofit corporations to finance or refinance capital expenditures. So this would actually reduce the cost for Mayor Lutheran High School, and it allows them to provide their services more cost effectively. So how it works a little bit is the city would enter into a loan agreement with Mayor Lutheran High School, under which the school would agree to pay all principal and interests on the note. The city would assign all its rights to payments under the agreement to Security Bank under a pledge agreement, and then the city is essentially just a conduit, and the money and obligations flow between the lender and Mayor Lutheran High School. So the note and resolutions would be adopted by the city at a later date. The city is not subject to any liability. The note will be structured as bank qualified bonds. And just a little background, the city can only, on an annual basis, can only do these type of bonds up to 10 million of its own, for its own purposes, or a 501c3. So as you know, we have issued about, we did have our water, some water projects this year. So we had our well, we're currently working on our well and our water treatment facility upgrades. And that was about 1.1 million. And then we also had some fire department equipment that we purchased for about 114,000. So if the city is considering the possible 3.5 issuance for the fire station, along with Mayor Lutheran High School, we would still be under that $10 million. We would have a public hearing, and that proposed date would be at the November 23rd, 2020 meeting. And then following the public hearing, the city council would consider a resolution that would adopt the issuance of those bonds. The bond Taft, our bond counsel, will prepare all legal notices and submit to the newspaper, and then again, we would do that public hearing, and all of this is paid by Mayor Lutheran High School. And then after the adoption of the resolution, the application is submitted to DEED. That's the Department of Economic Employment and Economic Development, and then Deed will then decide if that application moves forward or not. And then I think Mayor Lutheran High School is hoping that this will be done mid-December. So with that, Joel is here to answer any questions. I'm here to answer any questions, and, yep.
Joel,
Hi.
any questions for Joel? And you said this was our third, this would be the third time we've done that?
Yep, we've done it, for 2 other organizations prior to me. It's not some unheard of, so, yep.
So can you just run over those numbers again? Lutheran High is asking to conduit
3.2 million.
3.2,
Yep.
and what do we have in for the fire station?
Right now we have I put in 3.5.
0.5, and we've bonded what for the,
We have about, let's just say 1,150,000.
1.1. What was the other one?
Oh, and the equipment bond for the fire, that was 114,000.
So roughly about 2 million left. And then, so, is it every year?
This is annually, yep.
Oh, okay, it's 10 million annually.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had.
I'm all in favor for doing it. We've done it in the past. We have a precedent set.
And I know one question, Joel, I know one discussion item would be, we do usually charge $25,000 to the entity for this, for providing this. So I don't know if, Joel, you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it can be waived, and I would request from the council that it would be waived. That's a lot of money for Mayor Lutheran. For $25,000 is a lot for us. There's almost no cost to the city through this. We pay all the closing costs, we pay the bond council cost. Security Bank picks up their end of the cost. So really all the city's doing is allowing us just a bit of time here at a meeting and another meeting in November. And we would just request that it be waived. I think we all know the value of the high school to the local community, local economy is significant. And again, that's a lot of money to raise, for us. And so I would, humbly but boldly request that it be waived on our
In a
circumstance.
future meeting, will coming in to discuss this, or is this your official request to waive it? Or will that be at a later time?
We
I'll
can.
ask Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, we can bring it in. We just wanted to, make you aware of that request. It can come at a later date or just for more discussion, more information if you need it.
Seems appropriate to, and put in your formal request, and then we can get some of the information
Yeah.
we're gonna need. What are some of the other places we've done it? We've charged them, or have we not? And we waived it, and what precedent has been set, but we'll have to get more information.
Yeah, we can do that on the first meeting in November and then have the public hearing, just to keep that process moving forward on the 23rd, so.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I mean, we would, at the proper time, we would ask for that, obviously, in the proper way, but that
Right.
is something that's pretty significant, and we just would appreciate that, so.
Okay. No, I'm all for moving forward with and continue to move forward. Do we,
Yeah, I think a motion would be
I'll look for a
great.
motion to continue moving forward with the process of issuance of a conduit revenue note by the city mayor for Mayor Lutheran High.
We'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Perfect, thanks for coming.
Great, thank you,
Joel.
everybody, appreciate that.
Yep, we'll keep it moving, and then we'll get back and talk about the request when it comes in.
Right, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
I still stay.
Please. 7-1C, 2021 Sheriff's Department contract.
Okay, Mayor and Council, in your packet this evening is the 2021 Sheriff's Department contract. Asking you to discuss the contract with Carver County and to possibly pass Resolution 10.26.20.44, moving ahead with that contract. So as you know, the contract is an annual contract that goes from July 1st to December 31st. We contract for 0.88 FTE, so we share the other 0.12 with the City of New Germany. Our current hours are 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. Originally, this contract, the Sheriff's Department was thinking it would be a 4% increase. In the last month or so, they did come back stating that because of union negotiations that have not been decided or finalized yet, that the 2021 would stay the same as 2020, so there would be no increase. But with that, knowing that any successor agreements would pay for the actual cost in the next year. So,
So it might go up 8% next year. Is that what you're saying?
well, I think the way that they're structuring it is that the actual costs would be paid in 2022, and then it would kind of go that way from now on. So then in
Oh, paid.
the following year, it would kind of build off that way. So with that, there's the contract is, and that contract is 121,620. So that's the same as last year. Included in your packet is the contract between Carver County and the City of Mare. If you have any questions, please let me know. We do have some representatives from the Sheriff's Department here this evening to answer any questions. Otherwise, the resolution in your packet would approve that contract for signature.
Thank you. Any questions for Maggie or for the Sheriff's Department?
Well, I tried to compare the 2021 contract with the 2020, and I did not see any differences. Had anything changed in there between last year and this year?
The amounts?
No, just any
I think they said
wording or anything like that. Yeah, because I compared them and I didn't see anything, but I just want to double check that. nothing in the
I think there
contract-
were some minor changes in the contract, right?
Again, I'm just stepping in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a fill-in here for Commander Willeen, and without having those two work plans in front of me,
Right.
I couldn't answer to that. Generally, if the city's okay with it, I'm being involved with work plans from Waconia in years past, myself, and writing them. From year to year, generally, there's not a lot of change unless it comes to money, of course, with the contracts increasing, and/or the city wishing to change, kind of how you want your policing style. So I know we've had some changeover with a deputy leaving and a deputy stepping in. So, I don't believe there would have been any drastic changes unless it was upon the request of the city. And again, without having that work plan in front of me, I can't specifically answer that question.
Yeah, I can, after the meeting or tomorrow, I can send if there are any changes, I can send them to you.
Like I said, I didn't notice any. I just wanted to double check and be sure.
Any other questions? With that, I'll look for a motion to approve Resolution 10.26.20.44, approving the contract for police services for 2021.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
Do you know that if, let's say we don't renew the contract next year?
Yep.
Do we owe the difference in whatever the union's going to decide with them? Does anybody know that?
That I can't answer.
Okay.
That would be an administrative question.
I would guess, I guess,
I mean,
I don't know.
I would guess we would, yes.
services, provided, I would assume that, just up until that date,
Right.
And have assignments come out for next year?
Yes, they've been distributed to.
Okay.
And this is going to be your town deputy.
Okay,
Good.
good. Okay, thank
Yay.
you.
That's good. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in. Thank you.
Thank you.
I first, Nikki second.
Nikki.
I-
Yep, McNeely, yep.
Forgot.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
7-1D Community Center, City Hall.
Okay, so, Mayor and Council, you're being asked to review and discuss the approval of a partial bathroom renovation at the Community Center, City Hall. So as you are aware, in June, the city did receive about $172,906 in CARES Act funds. And I know on several occasions we've gone over that these funds are to be used for eligible expenses, things that were not budgeted for, and things related to COVID-19. And so I know at a previous meeting we had talked about some methods that we could maybe reduce exposure in our own public areas, especially the community center. We do have events here from time to time, especially weddings. And one of those discussions was replacing our current bathroom fixtures and fixtures in our community center with non-touch fixtures. So I did reach out to several companies soliciting quotes for the project. One company did respond and came to the site and did an assessment. The quote for the project to redo everything in the community center to non-touch was $24,845. Because and some of the costs related to this are the reason why it's so high is that we do have an older building that has some masonry that would have to be redone because we have old plumbing fixtures that are behind the walls. Also, because the project will impact the walls and the floors, staff is recommending or asking council to consider just as part of this project finishing, since they're already going to be redoing some of the walls and floors, just finishing off part of that, just so everything matches. So that cost from part of the $24,845 is $3,700. So I do have a cost breakdown up there. So it would be $21,145 in CARES Act funds, and then $3,700 capital outlay. And this is something we have. We do have about $25,000 each year that we budget for community center improvements. We have not.
We haven't made any other improvements yet.
No, we have not. So
We were looking for the approval of the $3,700 extra from the from the CARES Act.
Well, it would be to approve the CARES Act amount to spend the money on that, and then also the additional amount out of the city budget.
Any other questions for Maggie? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the total project of $24,845, which includes $21,145 CARES Act fund and $3,700 capital outlay from the City of Mayor's Fund.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? And when, Maggie, do we think this will get done in the next couple weeks?
Yep. I did talk with the contractor, and he said he'd be able to start fairly quickly, so.
Improvements for the facility here and for when it's rented out and the bathroom, I think they'll be nice. Are they still looking at perhaps redesigning, like even the men's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And then when we approve the agenda, we remove 7-2A, Maggie, and I think you were still setting up things. So we'll move to 7-3A, fire station site plan approval.
I'll just do a quick introduction. It is tonight, the council is being asked to approve or deny a site plan review for the proposed fire station building at 409 Shimcor Street. With that, I will have John Anderson, our city planner, do the site plan review.
Right, good evening. We have the site plan review for the new fire station to be located at 409 Shimcor Street. The city owns this lot and has for a while, and the Public Works building and site is directly north of it, so it'll be contiguous to another city property. What we're looking for is kind of look at the building itself, the layout, parking, landscaping, all those sorts of things. Properties to the north, west and south are industrial in nature, and to the east is property in the township that's agricultural land right now. There has been discussions that someday that could come into the city and be guided for more industrial or possibly some residential on the north end of that property. The site itself, the building meets all the proposed setbacks from a building standpoint, parking standpoint, meets all the lot coverage requirements. The height of the building meets the height requirement. So there really is no zoning standpoint. All that is being met. The off-street parking is also being met. There's currently 55 stalls being proposed. The building itself would require actually 52. So that would mean there's 3 additional off-street parking stalls. At the Planning Commission meeting, it was asked if the additional bay on the east end of the building was added, would there be enough stalls? And the way it was looked at is, what we're looking at right now is just the off-site or the parking lot stalls. There's also additional stalls in the bays themselves that can be counted towards off-site parking, and they do have 3 additional ones. I don't have an exact square footage of that bay, but I think we'd be okay with the amount of it if we included the interior parking for the vehicles, the fire trucks and things like that. As far as building materials go, as I mentioned, all the building materials being proposed meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance, so there's no issues there. Landscaping, there are going to be landscaping trees put in along the road of Shimcor Street, and then shrubs and different bushes put around the structure itself and the landscaping between the sidewalk and the building. There's no outdoor storage being proposed, but if a trash enclosure or like a dumpster is being used, some sort of enclosure would be needed on that. If not, then we don't need to worry about that. The city engineer has looked at the surface water management, the utility end of it, all the engineering standpoint, and has no comments. I have spoken with Dave Martini on this, and everything looks good from this standpoint. One item that did come up originally was a possible setback on the east side of the building if the new bay was added or the additional bay was added. To make sure the building setback still works, the building's now positioned that if the addition was used, that the setback we met and the drive lane would also meet the parking and maneuvering setbacks. There's no issues there. And they did that by shifting the building to the west. With that, there was a shortage in the drive lane from 24 feet to 20. That has also been adjusted and is now being met. So the drive lane can be a two-way traffic roadway through that area. So that has all been squared away. No signage is specifically being proposed other than there's some signs going on in the building itself. A specific permit would be needed for that to make sure it met all the square footage, but what's being proposed should meet city codes, so there should be no issues there. There's obviously some miscellaneous things like lighting and things like that, but that's all being met. And with that being said, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the site plan with the 11 conditions that are listed on page 5. And that includes, signage, lighting, noise and vibration, an outdoor storage requirement, street name. This here, there was some stuff labeled wrong on the plans, that's been changed. The parking requirements was labeled wrong, and a drive lane width, and all those have been corrected, but they're still listed at this point. Possibly a trash enclosure requirement, and then city engineer review for stormwater management, and then a building permit would be required before construction. So with that being said, I know there's representatives here tonight from the fire department, and I can take any additional questions, but what we're looking for is a motion to approve or deny the site plan for the fire station.
Questions for John? And John, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. The Planning Commission,
Recommended approval.
they did recommend approval.
Yep, they did.
Any questions for John? All right, with that, then I will look for a motion to approve Resolution 10.26.20.46, approving the site plan for the new fire station to be located at 409 Shimcor Street.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. So that will move us to 7.3B, the proposed fire station's bid. Submitting, or sending out for bids.
All right, Mayor and Council, let me just get to this. We are, in front of you today is a request to approve sending the fire station project out for bid. So as you know, Brunton Architect has, the architect has approved the design, hold on. Okay, so Brunton Architect has supplied the plans and specs that are substantially completed, and therefore the architect is requesting authorization to advertise and bid the project for the proposed fire station building to be located at 409 Shimcor Street. So as you know, at the August 10th, 2020 City Council meeting, a majority of the City Council moved to approve the building with the construction cost of $2,800,000. The current design that has been provided to you has been drafted according to that motion, and it is for the City Council to review at this meeting. So the architect and the fire station committee has, over the past month or so, has been working to reduce the cost of the project to meet that 2.8 construction cost. That included reducing square footage in some areas and making changes to meet but still meet the needs of the department. To reduce the cost, there are some bidding alternatives options that will be put in the bidding request. But again, the construction cost section will be $2.8 million. On page 85, there are separate costs still that will be part of the project. That's the design cost by the architect, the FF&E, the 3% contingency costs, the past purchase of the property, and the engineering costs that went into the site plan. Again, I apologize if that's blue, but that's kind of the current tentative timeline. And then in your packet are the fire department plans and the scope of service for the bidding process. So with that, I know we have several representatives from Brunton and the fire department and myself to answer any questions to send this out for bid.
Or Maggie, or the committee, or the architect?
Can I just get one of you guys to go up and like kind of explain how this is gonna work, what the process is, how do we go up for bids, who's bidding, all that stuff?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tyson. My name's Tom McCone. Jeff, maybe you want to come up here too? There might be a couple questions. Tom McCone, I'm with the Construction Services Project Manager for Brunton, and
Jeff Little, I'm the project architect for the fire stations.
yeah. Thanks for having us up again. And again, as Maggie said, we're requesting permission to issue for bid. The timeline that you had up there is really accurate with, we're still tracking right down to the spec with that, to try to answer some of your questions with the process here. So if we receive approval tonight, and then we move forward with one of the first steps tomorrow will be issuing to 2 newspapers the legal bid advertisement. And we're looking to post publicly for bid this coming Friday, 30th. So that process is getting into the fine details of that as we put that on Quest CDN, which is a highly recognized software that notifies all the plan rooms around the state of it. In addition to that, we will also be making sure plan rooms are receiving it. But we basically place the plans on that one location, and everybody goes to that location. to get the plans and specifications. So we need a 3-week notification, public notification period, and so the bid date that we've established, it was gonna be on, it kind of worked out to be on Thanksgiving, but that doesn't work, so we pushed it to the next Tuesday, December 1st. So Tuesday, December 1st at 2 PM is what we're recommending
Opening bids?
for opening bids. Yep,
And where will that be done?
that'll be done right here.
Here?
Check to see if this is available for that 2 o'clock.
Yep. December
Yep.
1st?
December 1st at 2 PM, it's a Tuesday.
Yep. They can check into that.
Well,
Be better in there,
okay.
possibly due to the number of people that might be in attendance. We don't know how many will be here, so it might want to have in there.
Yeah,
Fan out in there.
Yep.
for the,
We'll check availability.
Yeah, please.
keep in mind the COVID, and a lot of the contractors bidding now kind of understand that they don't need to swarm in.
Yeah.
You know, they'll send in their one bid runner, and they'll present the number and the bid, so. As far as budget looks, we're still on track with what we've been forecasting. After our last meeting some time ago, we massaged the building a little bit more, worked with Rod and Andy, and really didn't change much. So we're in line with that. We feel like the bid market is very favorable, especially this type of project with precast concrete. There's a period of time where it's got to be fabricated and procured, the precast part of it, which can take 3 to 5 months, which is perfect over the winter to get contracts, or a contractor on board to procure that. And then in April, when everything thaws out, we can start construction and really soon move into tipping the building up once he gets foundations. We have 6 alternates. I don't know if you want me to go through the alternates, which kind of define, so there's a base bid, and then you get the 6 alternates, which would, establish all the different things we're breaking out as either mostly ads here at this point, so.
Well, that's good. Perfect. Is that it? Does that answer everything you asked, Dice?
Mhm.
Any other questions? With that, then I'll look for a motion to allow Brunton Architects to put the fire station project out for bidding.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
The only thing I want to just add, as not necessarily for the bidding process, but we just talked about the purchase of the property was 184, but we also sold a property at the same time, which was originally intended for a new fire station. So I just want to make note of that it's not necessarily, because we purchased that other property several years, long time before for a lower amount, and then we pretty much sold where Casey's currently is, and then purchased this other one. So I'm just making a note that
I think Mayor Dodge's intention on that was just to keep track of it. I hope that the intention is not to go against what
No, it's just
this
to make sure we
project is
keep an
going to cost.
overall
Right, right.
thing, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
But yeah, that-
there's a note that
Yeah.
That's perfect. Good. Thank you. Any other discussion?
And then, just to be clear, everything's done architecturally. We aren't changing anything else, we aren't. All right.
All right. Anything else? So I just have a comment to make and more thanking, obviously, Brunton Architects and your entire team for all the work you guys have done since January. Obviously, Adam and Rod, all the work, all the hours you guys. have put
Andy.
in. Or, I'm sorry, did I say Adam?
You said
Andy. I'm
Andy.
sorry. Chief 1 and Chief 2 for all the work, for all the work you guys have put into this. I know it's been a lot. It's been a pain. And you guys really did it. You got it together. So thank the entire committee. Thank anyone else who's not here. You guys did a great job. Very good job going through this, so I appreciate that. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, good. All right, with that then, I'll look, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Perfect, thank you. We'll see you on the 1st. Thanks, John.
Guys.
Thanks, Rob. And then, Maggie, that will take us to 7.3C 2021 fire contracts.
Yep, sorry, I'm getting to it. Okay. So, in front of you this evening is a request to approve the 2021 fire contracts. So as you know, we do serve the townships of Camden, Hollywood, Waconia, and Watertown. And so I just provided you with a template of our contracts that will go out to be signed and approved by the townships. As you know, we do calculate the fees for services that are due based on the number of parcels of buildings served in each township. So every year I do request an update from the township on those parcel numbers. And then, as you know, you are seeing some growth in our city, so then the percentages change a little bit from year to year. So I do have a budget breakdown as well in your packet. This year, the operating budget is proposed to be around $206,500 with the debt of $46,225. So broken down, the townships pay about 25.04% of the operating budget and roughly 34% of the fire truck payment. And so with that, I'm available for any questions. Again, there's a contract template in your packet for, this is very similar to what we've used in the past. So yeah, looking for approval to send those out and to allow staff to sign those contracts when they come in.
What happened with the Explorer program? Because it looks like we had money in there for 2019, 2020 for Explorer program, and then there's nothing for 21, 22. Is it-
When I sat down with the fire chief, I think that program just
Haven't had it for a
haven't,
couple
yeah, it
years.
hasn't
It
been
just hasn't-
happening. So we decided to,
hasn't been active for several years.
And that was the recommendation of the chief.
yep. Yeah, but
And
when
then
we
the
get-
second question is, why did postage jump up so much in this day and age of social media?
Let me just see.
Went from 125 a year to 350 a year.
I will ask Andy about that. I know, I'm trying to think if that was the calendars or, I looked at the history of what we were using or what we were spending, and we weren't covering it with the 125.
Because I know the calendars they hand deliver, so.
I'm gonna have to see what that postage is for then, because,
Because if it went up that significantly, what's in exchange for that? What are they doing that's costing that when they have, the fire department has their own Facebook page, and, we've got city Facebook
Right.
pages, Instagram, et cetera. I don't understand why the postage would have more than doubled.
yeah, I will double check on the postage. I know, just when we were reviewing it, it was in the red for this year, and so in order to, but I'll double check on why that increase was there. And,
Okay, you'll follow up with that.
yep, I'll follow up with the postage.
I mean, I got some
Like 2 mailings a
assumptions
year,
in my
don't
head,
they?
but I don't like to make assumptions, so.
Mail out the-
Right.
I think there's other mailings that are involved that aren't to residents necessarily, but I'm not speaking to.
And maybe when they sent out the pamphlets about the whole new fire department, maybe that added an extra cost that we weren't anticipating. So I just don't know, but I'd appreciate, if you check.
Yep, I'll
I know
double
it's only a
check.
couple $100,
Oh,
but
yeah, no,
I'm just curious.
nope, that makes sense.
Okay, and then when you get that set, then I'll also look for motion then to approve the contract amounts and authorize the mayor's signature on the contracts for the 2021 fire contracts with the townships.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Seven four, Public Works Worker 2.
Okay, so, Mayor and Council, just a little background, on October 21st, the hiring committee, that included myself, and Public Works Worker 1 and the mayor, we did do, interviews. So we had 7 applicants for this position. We did have 3 that we interviewed. We did feel that all 3 candidates that were interviewed had a lot of strengths, but the hiring committee did make the recommendation to offer the position to Brian Libke at $21.25 per hour plus benefits, and we are recommending this based, which would be contingent on a successful background check. And I did do reference checks, and all 3 came back positive, with just good things to say about this person. So with that, I can take any questions at this time about that process. I did send the resume this morning, just to give you a little background. So I will answer any questions.
Any questions for Maggie? And on the salary, we talked a lot about that and ended up at this 21.25, knowing come January 1st, per the union contract, that goes up 3% automatically, just based on the contracts. That's why it's set where it's at now. Any other discussion? All right, I'll look for a motion to make a job offer to Brian, thank you. Oh, there he is, Brian Lukey, sorry. For Public Workers 2 at $21.25 an hour.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign?
I'm going to abstain. I believe I know at least 2 of the people that are in this process.
You understand, okay. Thank you. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. And that will take us to council reports. Eric, any report?
I have no.
Tice? Nikki?
We had park board since our last meeting. What did we talk about? We just kind of continued to talk about our long-term plan and, with our reduced budget, so just kind of still looking at it, but still trying to incorporate things. So it looks like our basketball court that we're going to go in will go in 2021 that we approved. And then we're going to continue we ordered some railings for the skate park equipment, but we didn't put it out because we wanted the railings to go on, and then since we were down to 1 Public Works employee, it just isn't feasible to try to do everything. Other than that, and we interviewed for a new committee member, and we approved that earlier in the meeting, so.
Okay. Liz?
No.
All right, we had a personnel committee meeting. You can see the minutes are in there that we had. We're just kind of talking a little bit about, again, structuring and kind of how we can align and kind of keep Public Works aligned properly, kind of get back to where we're in that director position, a supervisor position, trying to throwing that around, see what we can do with it, and, starting to talk about even a Public Works 3, if a very entry level, and when in the future that'd be needed, and start to prepare for that, so just to stay ahead of things. So that's all I have. With that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned 5-0.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great night. I'm sorry?
Why not keep it going?
And that a workshop is just discussion and not motioning on anything.
Everyone watches it.
Shoot, I forgot to add something, but that's okay.
All right, we'll open up the workshop, and we'll start with the budget.
All right. So, Mayor and Council, I just wanted to provide you with an update on the preliminary budget. I did update my budget summary report. As you know, our proposed preliminary tax levy was originally at 54.7%. That's 5.35% more than the 2020 levy. Since then, I have been getting more final numbers in with contracts and just in other areas, kind of looking at needs and wants and lowering it that way too. So right now, I'm at, I was able to get it down to 51.5%, which is 2.15% more than the 2020 levy. Oops, sorry. So again, what we need to know for final numbers is our debt, our final debt levy. A big part of that will be our fire station, what our bids come in at. So next year, as you know, we do have $85,000 for that debt payment, but really, depending on how it can come, what the bids come in at, it could be between 40 and 85. So we just don't know that number yet. So that could actually bring down our levy quite significantly once we find out that number. You know, I haven't, but it definitely, if it is around, if it gets down to that 45, it would definitely bring us below what our levy was last year.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yep.
Because I know when you did this 88,000 was, what, at 4.2 or something
Oh,
for the fire station?
say that one more time.
So this 88,000 for the fire station.
Yep.
You based it on if we were going to bond out
Yes.
for 4.2.
Exactly.
Okay, so my thought is we've had discussions that we know that 4.2 is way out of ballpark.
Right.
So why can't we start looking at things a little bit? Because this might not be till December.
Right.
And when we have a lot of time, does that make sense? Like, we kind of talked about the 2.8, building project, and then we know the PPE and the EE, whatever. FF&E, yes, sorry. And those, that we know we're gonna be below the 88. Am I making sense? Like, I know we're aiming high, but I think we're at a point where we can actually be more realistic about that number. And if we're,
When is the final levy
It's-
voted on?
It's December. Yep. So we got another, about another month and a half or so.
And they're opening bids December what?
First. Yep.
So, I mean, we're gonna be
at that
real-
Next meeting, we can still make an adjustment. We can go down.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not trying to change, but I would like to see, like,
Yeah, why put it in there and levy?
we know that that's too high for sure.
We should be able to dial it in. a
So
little
can
bit.
we dial it in and be like at 3.5? That's not saying that that's what would get approved, but I think that's closer to the number, than this 88. And where does that put us at our tax rate? Because I know that our, didn't go up, I don't necessarily, I would like to stay pretty flat. I know going down is a good thing too, but then we've always had the discussion, if you go low and then things start tanking, then now all of a sudden we have to go back way up and our jump is even higher.
Yeah, I can calculate it really quickly.
Because I think then we can then have, because that's our biggest factor in this whole thing.
Right.
Does that make, am I making any sense to just having this?
No, completely.
You know, let's get to a more realistic number now that we've already approved the 85, the higher one. Where are we gonna be?
And this is what we're here to do tonight.
Okay.
So this is where we're kind of going through it again and giving me stuff so I can bring it back to you at the next meeting.
Perfect.
So I'm looking for those areas that we can decrease.
Let's be more realistic on what we think the fire station most likely is going to be around. Maybe still be on the high side, but even if it's, 50,000, because that's at 3.5, that's what it would be. And make that our new. And then we can look at other things because, being below the tax levy makes me nervous, and I'm not trying to say I want to not lower taxes, but I think just where things are at, I think it's important that we at least maintain. I think we've done a lot of work in the last 15 years to go from a pretty significant tax percentage down to where we're at today, and that's pretty manageable. And then maybe that street fund, because we know we have so many projects coming back on, do we really have to reduce it by that much money? Does that make sense? That's just what I'm thinking right now. Because I think that would give us a better idea of where we're at.
Totally agree.
Because we're not going to have a lot of time once those bids come in to when we actually have to finalize our levy. And I'd rather have all this moving done prior to that.
Well, and to your point, when you're talking about, should we try to even go lower than last? And we have to remember too, we're saving a lot more for capital funds now too, that we never did in the past. So
Right.
in reality, if we took out that 125,000 we're saving for streets and everything, we would be well below where we ever were. But we're on the right path and taking the city in the right direction now with all these capital funds too, and maintaining. So I'm not.
'Cause we've been able-
I can rationalize not going lower for those reasons to
Yeah.
residents and to the public, for them to understand that we're finally out of the hole. We're starting to save for projects, so, and keeping it flat. But I'll just tell you from real quick, kind of to your point, Nikki, and why I would kind of like to see that dial in a little bit more. I'm still a little uncomfortable at 51.5. It's a little high for me still. But I do think we have some leeway. We do have that park fund that we can utilize, and if we had to cut a little bit out of the park capital and then rely on that fund for 40 grand and get us to where we need to be, I'm still confident we're gonna get there, but
Yes.
Still a
We'll
little high
see a
for
lot of
me.
movement
It's
with
still
if
a
we
little
change
high.
that fire station thing.
yeah.
So if we put the fire station at 45,000, we would be about right where we were at last year for a tax levy. So if we reduce it by 40,
I think that's,
We think that's-
That's low. I mean,
that's,
is that pretty
that-
reasonable? Or do you think it should be more at a 50 as for these numbers, for now?
that's like keeping it at 40, still 45,000. So, I would say keep it maybe, again, we're not gonna know that number until December 1st, but, I think, 4550 seems reasonable. I can double check with Todd Hagan if he can give me a more accurate number.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause if
based on
you
the
have a-
numbers that we're putting it out for bid on.
Because if you're at 4.2 and you got a number, I think it's reasonable to ask, well, what would our number be with where we're at? I mean, we kind of have a lot of those numbers. 2.8 for the building, we've got the FF&E, we've got, the other, the not 8% or 9%. We have all those numbers. What does that number look like at the end? And that's what we maybe add a little bit for that. And some of it's contingency, because they did say that
Right.
that could change once, that contingency fee. Because then I think that would give us a better idea, then we can leave everything, I'm okay with where everything else is. Going into this, the park board was completely okay with where they're at, because we do know we have the reserve money that we can use to still process a lot of projects next year and still keep in line. We just might not be able to do some of our bigger projects as early as we thought. But I don't think that was a major concern for us. I get more concerned about the street fund because we've been working so hard to gain that, and we know we have huge projects going on. And was the last one, didn't we pay cash for?
Yep, we did pay cash.
Which was the whole point.
Right, and another thing that I know we had meant or have brought up in the past is that street financing plan. So we do need to start looking at that again, and that is, that's based a little bit on these numbers too, kind of what we're bringing in each year for our capital. But again, it's I think it has a little bit of flexibility as well in that plan. So I think it would be worth bringing that back to you in the near future, just to kind of give you an idea again of what that bonding plan looks like for the next 5 to 10 years.
Just a little bit so I can see what the headers are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh. What's my watch?
Oh, my goodness. You that recognize his.
That was really weird. That was very creepy.
Even if we can dial, and again, to Nikki's point, wherever we could dial in and start saving and try to get some of that street capital back up again from the 75 back up to 100, or if we can cut somewhere to start saving on these streets. These streets are coming up, this next year is gonna be a pretty big one.
Yeah, and I know that proposal will come to you at the November meeting from Bolton and Mink, so we'll have.
So that will be good, because that will also help us. But I like your schedule that you were talking about, that, our debt schedule, because that's another big thing to understand, is how our debt schedule is gonna work. And can we put in, the fire station, what we think it would be, so that we can see how it works and that we're not overreaching that limit? Even adding in those because we have those street projects already kind of labeled out. That would really help me when it comes down to final decision-making for the fire station as well. Bless you. I'm talking too much. I'm done.
Yeah, and even those funds, I assume they're balanced for the fire capital fund. Is that balanced? 100,000 is what it, just when I look at it, fire capital versus streets,
Right.
obviously we have the fire station we're doing, but we got a lot of street projects. So it seems that those could be balanced a little bit. I understand the public works building, and you lowered that down to 25. That seems pretty reasonable to me. Park fund seems reasonable because we do have that other one, but the fire and the street just seem a little off on them. Just on how they're balanced.
Yeah, could we also figure out what was all the things that we wanted for the fire capital fund? I know, is it for gear and future fire trucks? Is that what does that break down?
Yeah, I can,
Is that what that is? I don't.
yeah, I know, like, every year we update our capital improvement, our long-term plan. So again, I think January or February, we will review that based on the numbers that we will be approving for the year. But to give you at least a good idea, I can resend that document that we drafted based on assumptions, based on assumptions that we would keep adding those amounts. But again, things
Because everything
change.
else is getting decreased except for the fire capital fund, so
Right.
not to say that the fire capital fund isn't important, because it is, but
And I assumed you lowered the fire contract now? The increase that we had accounted for, now that we have that 4%?
You mean the police
Oh, the
contract?
police?
Police, did I
Yep,
say fire?
yep,
You
I
said
did.
fire.
Yep, exactly.
Police, fire. Okay, perfect.
We're here for you.
Yeah, right. Then how about and without going into it, how about like professional services? So like Ehlers and Abdo and some of that stuff that they're doing that we had them do that I thought we're gonna maybe kind of transition back, that you would be taking over some of that. Can we start cutting out some of that?
Oh,
or
yeah,
are
I
those-
think,
Are they big dollar amounts, or where are those sitting on those funds? Because some of that stuff I think could be transferring back.
right, right,
Didn't
yeah,
meet
we,
as much with the attorney for sure this year, because I
because of
think
union.
contract, yeah, that took a chunk.
Yeah, the union contract should be quite a bit easier to do this year.
Yeah, I can definitely look at professional services a little bit more and,
Yeah, just see what we can start bringing back in-house.
okay.
Because I thought that was the intent of it. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe.
No, that's the intent, yep. Yeah, no, I think it's,
Do you want more? Do you want to start going through everyone? Are you getting the information you're needing? Do you
no,
want?
this is great. I'm just, again, bringing this to you, like, just for overall council discussion, but I can also, I'm always available to, outside of, meetings, to go over this more in depth or for feedback. So if you want to send me an email or call me or meet in person, that would be great too. I just wanted to have a full council discussion as well, so.
I'm pleased where it's going. Another percent for me is gonna get me there, percent and a half. You know, and then again, because we gotta factor in water and sewer
Yep.
and some of that discussion that we need to have still. And that, you know, again, that's it. Yeah, we won't get in that discussion right now, the enterprise funds, but.
Okay.
Okay, anything more? Any other comments on that? Megan, do you need anything more on that as you start going through it then? All right,
I'll just come in and ask my questions.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
20
I
CARES
have more.
Act.
Okay, so,
Take the time now if you,
I don't have any more questions
okay.
now. It would just be like going deeper into,
yeah, so
no, you didn't.
I'm just looking for a discussion. I just wanted to give you an update in the packet as to, you know, we did provide funding to Carver County, their housing stability program and their small business assistance program. They did give me an update that, you know, we promoted it, they promoted it. We did not get any housing requests. They also are currently doing small, like, with their own funds, because they have enough left over too, they're doing, at-home businesses. Right now, I think they're still accepting applications, but we did receive 3 small business emergency, applications. They used 2 of our, 2 of them were funded through our program and 1 was funded with their funds. With that, we did get 79,300 back.
How much should we give them?
We gave them 100. So, right now, we have about, 107,000. Any of that will go back to to Carver County. So, I'm just, wanted to have that, give you that information and have any further discussions on the CARES Act funds.
And you took out the stuff we did for here for live streaming?
Yep, I did. Yep, that was the amount that was part of the approval in September.
Now the restroom will come out of there too?
Yep, yep.
We know when Tierney was here, did we make sure we could do conference calling?
Yep, so we are, that is getting set up tomorrow with our IT guy.
Okay.
So we just had, some extra stuff we needed to do with him. So that'll all be ready tomorrow.
So you say it goes back to the county?
It goes back to Carver County.
How much will be left after Tierney and the bathroom?
It'll be about 107.
Oh,
What's Carver County gonna do with that?
Well, they get a certain amount of time to use it, and then it goes back to the state for their use.
So on the businesses, do we have a good handle on what the businesses applied for versus what they got? And is there just an algorithm that they follow, or did they only give a certain amount? Say a business asked for 5,000 and got 3. Can we get them the other 2 then if we had I mean, I'm assuming there's some sort of
I believe,
calculation or something, but I just want to make sure, just because we wanted to,
yeah.
can't give it to the first one all 60,000, so did they kind of spread it and?
Yeah, I think the grant was for 10,000 each. So I think they both got 10,000. And then the administrative fees were $700. So yeah, I can give you, I think they gave me a little explanation in an email. They're going to do final reports, I think, as well, and I can get that to you when they're available.
Well, I'm glad that some of our businesses applied and got that assistance. I think that,
So we're done with the program with Carver County?
Yep. So they,
residents, can't they still apply?
residents can still apply through, and it'll be through Carver County funds.
Okay.
Yep, because they have enough left over for that.
Like you said earlier, it's worth letting these people with the delinquent utility bills, maybe
Yep.
just letting them know that's available.
Because if they're delinquent due to COVID,
Absolutely.
they could, I mean, why not? Just, some people, I mean, I know we've posted it everywhere, but sometimes, you know, I talk to a lot of the small businesses and encourage them to apply, and most of them had heard of it, and were actually in the process of. It was a lot of paperwork, but I said it would, you know, it's worth doing it. I mean, we purposely,
Yeah, and I know me and the coordinator at the CDA, we did look up as many emails as we could to send to the businesses, and
So are you looking for other I mean, have you
I just
gone through
wanted,
the community center? Are there other
have you
things?
talked to, I know the fire station doesn't want a cleaning, because I know that, you know, we could get a new one, but I really think that just having a good cleaning of the bathrooms wouldn't necessarily be bad, because we'll be in that building for at least another year. You know, and just add that to our list. I know the fire department doesn't necessarily say they need it, but I would suggest at least the bathrooms get cleaned.
What are the rules about buying stuff now? Can we buy extra urinals and extra toilets for the new fire station?
no, it has to be, I think it has to be between
Well, we
certain time,
purchase them,
November
we just wanna
15th.
install them, but
I can look into it. I think it has to be, like, the project, it's like a project, and I think the project has to be done within a certain time.
But what about their decontamination area and stuff? Could we possibly buy equipment that they're gonna use, but then be able to pick up and take with them?
Yeah, I think we can look
Like,
into that.
you know, washer, dryer, the, you know, that kind
Because
of.
I know they have to buy a commercial washer and dryer or whatever. They have to have special
Over-
machines for their,
For cleaning and,
some of that will be tough,
Decontaminating.
because that's, I mean, we'll have to still follow the COVID rules and buy a washer. I mean, if it fits into it, great, do it, but
but washing
some
their
of what does
red.
that do for COVID, washing your, you know, their turnout gear?
Well, they have their red,
Decontaminating it?
they have their medical,
Yeah,
stuff.
for-
Yeah, the jumps.
their jumpsuits that have to get washed.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, just, I think we should,
Look into those, yeah.
Yeah, I
because
can-
I know that they didn't take advantage of some of our conversations, but it doesn't hurt to ask and, you know, can we allocate cleaning money to just have,
Or if we're doing one way, kind of in the community center now, do we need to do anything by that back door, put an awning over it or something for rain? Because now we're trying to get people going out, do we wanna get a little tent for the parking lot that, cause we can't have people in here that can get used? Or, how about all our light switches, should we go touchless? Go to motion sensors on all the,
And, you know,
And then that'll turn off lights if we leave them on at night. I mean, we'll save energy that way too, so.
and just like we're putting in the touchless stuff in the bathroom, could we do that in the kitchen as well?
Yep, we are. Yep, so that's included in the price. So we did
Are there
a
other things in the
touchless.
kitchen that we can be doing?
Possibly. We're doing the one sink to touchless, and then we're doing the water fountain the same. It's really tough. Well, I could see if like the commercial kitchen area can be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think motion sensors on some of the lights, like maybe even in the office, so then like when you're working and you haven't moved for a while, lights will just turn off.
And then Janelle's taking her nap and, you know,
You're like, shoot, I didn't get up in the last 2 hours.
right?
I'm just kidding, you know.
All right, so and we'll continue if, email Maggie if you think of anything else.
Yeah, if you think of anything, I have been asking every department head or person just to give me ideas if they can think of anything.
How long do we have to use it?
November 15th. Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I mean, we should be cognizant that this is still tax money.
No, agreed.
All this money I mean, I've heard other cities that are looking and stuff because we have all this money here to spend. And ultimately, you know, we're gonna it increases the national debt, which, I mean, we're talking billions of dollars that we're all going to be paying back sometime. So, I mean, if we have to brainstorm on stuff to buy, then maybe we don't need it. You know, the next thing is a lot of this money that doesn't get spent goes back to the healthcare systems as well, to start to cover some of those, you know, costs that are there. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there just for the sake of,
That's a fair point.
think about something, but.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not looking to find $100,000 worth of stuff, but it's
I'm not saying
just,
anybody is. It just seems like a lot of,
We don't want to miss an opportunity either, that, you know, after a while, it's like, oh gee, we could have done that, you know? I like the touchless lights. I think that's a good idea, because lights are gross.
they are. But just remember,
Door
that's, it's
handles are
still, it's
gross.
still money, it's not money that came out of thin air. It's money that eventually we're gonna be paying back. So we're just throwing it out there.
We've already paid it.
No, we haven't paid that.
Where'd it come from?
It's monetizing debt.
All right. Okay, perfect. And good point, Art, thank you. All right, anything more on that? Then we'll adjourn. We are adjourned.
okay, Maggie.
Oh, I'm gonna shut the thing off.
Oh, go to.